Well, hello everyone and happy Tuesday. Welcome back to UpNorthLive Unscripted. I am Maya Engel, your host. I'm live in our digital studio, and this is day 4 of doing this new 6:30 show. So, in case you are new here, whether you're watching on one of our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, or X, maybe you're watching on ABC 29 and 8. In case this is your first time watching, I do want to give a little background information because I know it is a different format than what you're used to. So, and for you folks who have been watching every other day, this is going to be a little repetitive, but just so everyone is on the same page here. So what this show is, it's similar to our other newscasts at 5, 6, and 11, except for obviously I'm not in the studio, not with Mark. We are not reading a teleprompter. We're still going to touch on our most important stories of the day and our trending top stories of the day, but it's all going to be unscripted. I'm not reading from a teleprompter. I'm just kind of giving a summary of what we're going to be talking about. And then each day we're going to debrief into our top story and bring in a reporter or someone who is very familiar with that story and kind of dig a little deeper into a specific story. And our goal here is to get you involved. So at any point, if you want to chime in, you can leave a comment in the comments below if you're watching on social media, and we're going to go through those comments. But first off, let's bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. Hi, Joe. Happy Tuesday.
Yeah, hi. How are you?
I am good. You know, it was pretty sunny out today, so I can't complain too much. How are you?
Good. There's still a little smoke up there, but there's definitely more blue sky I noticed today than what we had yesterday. And it was a really nice day today for pretty much all of northern Michigan, and we're going to get pretty much the same thing tomorrow, Maya. On Wednesday, we'll get a dry day, and Thursday it looks like, and then Thursday night, I think, will be our next chance for a little bit of rain. But for the most part, we don't have that thick smoke overhead today.
All right. And Joe, we're going to check back in with you in just a few moments, and you can go into more depth of what the rest of the week and the weekend's going to look like. But I'm going to remove you, Joe, so we'll see you in a bit. I'm going to turn things over to our question of the day. Today, our question is, surveillance cameras are being installed at the Pines homeless encampment in Traverse City. Do you believe it's a step to increase safety or an invasion of privacy? And just to kind of give you folks a little more background information, I'm going to play our package today from our reporter, Allie Baxter. This is a topic that she has been covering for a long time. She was there today at the Pines when they installed the camera. Right now, 86% are saying it's a step to increase safety, where 14% are saying it's an invasion of privacy. So I'm going to go ahead and show Allie's package. And then when we come back, we're going to check in with Allie and just dive a little deeper into the subject. But first up, here is Allie's package.
And for protecting people.
As part of Traverse City's short-term goals to make an area known as the Pines safer, they are adding sanitary services.
It was really important to them to have assets for people to use bathrooms and sinks for hygiene and just for basic dignity.
But to get these sanitary services,
we had issues in the past with vandalism and the assets not being used for their intended purpose. So the way we were able to get through that was to offer to have them protected by surveillance cameras.
Right now, it's just one camera. It doesn't face those camping in the Pines. Rather, it's face to view
the dumpster and the porta potties.
Police Chief Matt Richmond says his department is responsible for managing this camera and any future ones installed.
We have policies in place that guide our officers and detectives utilizing the cameras to restrict what we can and cannot do, to make sure that we are abiding by all laws and that we are not invading on people's privacy.
You might think those living here would feel uncomfortable with the surveillance, but many told us off camera it's not a bad thing.
We also want to dispel any myths that be out there, because we have had illegal dumping happening in the Pines, and then it gets blamed on the homeless community. So if there is vandalism, we want to make sure that we're getting the right individuals who are doing these things.
And before we bring in Allie, I'm going to pull up our question of the day one more time. Again, that is, surveillance cameras are being installed at the Pines homeless encampment in Traverse City. Do you believe it is a step to increase safety or an invasion of privacy? And we have gotten a lot of feedback on this question of the day. It looks like there's about 494 votes right now. And so I'm going to read a couple of the comments that are on our Facebook page. And again, if you have any comments, we do encourage you to join in on the conversation. Leave a comment on whatever platform you're watching this on, and we will look at those. But just looking at our different Facebook comments, we have 306. So a lot of people have opinions on this. The first thing that comes up is a comment from Beth. She says, "There's no such thing as privacy on public land. Hopefully this will be a step towards better safety." Jacob kind of has the same agreement, same comment. He says, "What privacy? It's a public space." Kelly says, "I feel like it would be a good idea to have cameras for protection. Sadly, a lot of homeless fall victim to violent crimes." Missy says, "It needs to happen. It's public property. I want to know who will tamper with it first." Daryl says, "It's public property. There is a private interest. There are safety concerns, a lot of EMS, police, and fire calls there." So I think a lot of people are kind of on the same page that since this is public property, they do think that it's a step to increase safety. However, there is 14% right now who do think it's an invasion of privacy. So I'm trying to see some comments that kind of show that side of things more, but a lot of people are saying, Denise says it's public property. They don't own it. So a lot of different comments, again, with that same sentiment there. So we'll check back in with these comments in a little bit and check to see if we have any live comments. But right now, let's bring in our Allie Baxter. She is live in the newsroom. Hi, Allie. How are you doing today?
Hi, Maya. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here and kind of digging a little deeper into your story. And this is not just something that you covered today. This is a topic that you really have been covering for a while now. So can you just give us some background information on how this plan to add the cameras, and I know last summer they cut down trees. How was this plan developed?
Right, Maya. So the city is constantly taking steps to not just make the pines safer, but the overall area around the pines safer as well. Just like you said, this is something that we've been reporting on for a while now. The idea of the cameras, it's not a new idea. This is something that I actually had spoken with Police Chief Richmond about almost, I want to say, a year ago when we initially saw some of the tree trimming in the pines. This was definitely a long-term plan. And just like I had said in my story, they're not totally sure where those cameras are going to be installed yet. But we do know one of the plans was to put them right by the dumpster. That's where some of the bathrooms are going to be now as well. And that was kind of the deal. In the past, those bathrooms, they've been vandalized, they haven't been properly used. So the vendor of that had taken the bathrooms out. Now the deal with the city is we want surveillance on these because we want to make sure they are being used properly.
Right. So again, just to reiterate that, it's not like they are pointing the cameras directly at people's tents and where people are staying. It's just at the dumpster and where the restrooms will be to make sure they're not being vandalized. So, and I'm sure you heard a lot of those comments that I was reading from Facebook. A lot of people are saying that it is public property. So since it is public property, and with everyone that you talked to, do you know, were there any legal issues with this?
Not that I know of, since it is like area and land that is owned by the city. And so since the city has kind of given that permission for the cameras to be there, there aren't any legal issues that I know of.
And then you mentioned in your story that you did talk with some people off camera. I'm assuming there are people who are staying at the Pines and they don't seem to be too bothered by this. Is that true?
Yeah, I was really surprised. They said they were not too bothered by this. And in fact, it helps them. And I know that's something City Manager Liz Vogel touched on a little bit in the story as well, is that, you know, a lot of times there's illegal dumping that happens at the Pines, and it's really easy to turn around and blame those who are living so close to that dumpster. But they've been very adamant in the past that it's not always them, it's citizens as well. So this is actually kind of a step of being able to protect them as well, that if there is illegal activity going on and it's not from those that are living in the Pines, this really helps their case as well, being able to say, hey, here's video, here's backup evidence and proof that this didn't occur because someone was living in the Pines.
Mm-hmm. And it will be the Traverse City Police Department that'll be monitoring those cameras?
Yes, and it's not like a 24/7 monitoring situation. It's just going to be used in cases where, hey, we have this camera here. Is there something that we need to go back and look at, especially if there is a complaint? If something does happen to the bathrooms or there is a case of illegal dumping, they can go back and check those cameras and see, hey, what can we use this for and who really is responsible?
Mm-hmm. So then based on the results from our poll today, which I'm going to bring back up, it does sound like a majority of our viewers do think this is a step to increase safety. It sounds like everyone you talked to today agrees, from the police department to people who are staying at the Pines. Seems like for the most part, everyone's on board with this idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of never heard today that anyone saw it as overstepping or really feeling like it invaded their privacy in any way. Especially from those who are living in the Pines, they really saw it as almost like security for them. And that is something that they have reached out and told different organizations in the community the same thing as well. And I will say a lot of discussions happened before even getting to this point of putting the one camera there, talking with some of the organizations in the area that work with those who live in the Pines, talking to the public safety organizations in Traverse City as well. There was a lot of discussion on the best practices and what can we do to really make the people there feel safe, and also respect the fact that, hey, we want our vendors to be able to come back and provide these services too. So how do we go about kind of respecting and honoring their wishes too? And this was a good place to meet in the middle for that by saying, hey, we can provide the surveillance.
Sure. So then what are the next steps moving forward? You mentioned that the cameras some of them are back ordered, so they might not get here for a while, but do we know when the bathrooms plan to be installed?
Yeah, so actually right now those bathrooms are there. There was a little bit of miscommunication. This is something that City Manager Liz Vogel was telling me earlier today. The bathrooms have been placed, but they've been placed a little bit further down the street than what was intended. So the plan is to move those bathrooms back to where the dumpster area is, especially since that is where the camera is as well.
That makes sense. All right. Well, Allie, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to mention that you really want our viewers to know about this subject?
Yeah, I guess I would say, besides just the camera, the city has some other initiatives planned there as well. One of those is solar powered benches. So when they were installing some wiring from TC Light and Power the other day, it wasn't just for the camera, it's also being set up to have those solar powered benches. So hopefully people can go over, be able to use those as well. As City Manager Vogel was saying earlier, it's kind of, these are the first steps that they can take in the short term, especially to make sure people there are comfortable, because it is basic human rights.
Sure. Well, Allie, thank you so much for joining us here on Unscripted and for digging a little deeper into a very important topic. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Maya.
See ya. And we're going to take a quick little break. I'm going to put up our question of the day one more time. And when we come back, we will check in with those results. And we're also going to check in more with our Chief Meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix, on the forecast for the rest of the week. So stay with us. You're watching Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix, now from the Storm Team Weather Center. And if you folks have any questions for Joe, you can, and you're watching online, you can leave a comment and we'll try to get to those. But Joe, I think the big story today is some of that smoke that we saw in the sky yesterday from those Canadian wildfires kind of starting to get out of the way. The sun came out a little bit, and it sounds like tomorrow is going to be even nicer.
Yeah, and I think maybe a couple degrees warmer tomorrow too, Maya. So
Nice.
that'll be nice. It looks good Thursday. I don't think we get any rain here until Thursday night into the day on Friday. Let's take a look. We did take our Up North Live Skyview drone up today. Out over, well, we have a bunch of Silver Lakes in the area, but I'm going to show you the drone footage here. And it should pop in any second. And by coincidence, so Dan, our drone operator, was up. And by coincidence, the fire department was out doing some water rescue training. So you can kind of see what that looks like. There they are. That's Silver Lake. A nice day for that, too. It was obviously sunny. There was a little bit of a breeze out there, but it wasn't too bad overall. Three big things in weather here in northern Michigan. Temperatures mainly above normal. If you like 70s, well, you're in luck because we have a lot of that coming up over the next week.
Nice.
Again, our next chance for rain, not until Thursday night into Friday morning, it appears here for us. And then the weekend, low and mid 70s, it looks like, which is about 5 to 10 degrees above normal. There is a system off to the south of us. So here's a look at radar right now. Even parts of Tennessee here under a severe thunderstorm watch, that yellow box there south of Nashville. Back up our way, we'll zoom in. A few thunderstorms and showers in the far southern part of the state. You can see that there, Jackson, south of Kalamazoo. And then as you head north, you run into the edge of the clouds there around Big Rapids. And north of there, it is clear and quiet. And that's, well, I'm sure how many of you kind of like it sometimes. Meanwhile, well off to the west, way out here in the northern Rockies, and just kind of getting out into the Dakotas. That's our next system for Thursday night into Friday, but that's still a couple days away before that gets here to northern Michigan. So we'll kind of time things out. There's tonight. There's tomorrow. Look at the afternoon. The white is cloud cover. Green is rain. We have nothing like that at all. Beautiful weather. And then Thursday, clouding up a little in the afternoon, especially north. And then here is the rain. So this is around sunset. And then here comes the rain. This is Thursday night, early Friday. So that's kind of what we're looking at Friday morning, and then that should taper off as we head into Friday afternoon. And just a quick note here, Maya, we'll look at the weekend. Looks pretty good. Look at Saturday.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like a beach day to me.
Yeah, partly cloudy, warm, a few morning showers on Sunday. That looks pretty good. And the extended forecast, again, rain Thursday night, early Friday. Saturday looks dry, maybe a couple showers Sunday morning. But look at those temperatures, too. A lot of 70s over the next week or so.
Oh, I'm excited. This is my favorite weather when it's starting to get a little hot, not too boiling like 80s, but just, into this upper 70s.
Nice comfortable zone, yeah.
Comfortable, yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Joe. And when we're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we're going to check in with our sports director, Harrison Beebe, to see what he is up to. I do want to put up our question of the day one more time. And so if you folks have not voted yet, be sure to scan the QR code on your screen now and vote. And when we come back, we'll check in with Harrison. And then after that, we'll take a look at the results for a question of the day. But for now, stay with us. You are watching Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Welcome back to Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. It is time now to bring in Northern Michigan's favorite sportscaster. That is, of course, Harrison Beebe. He seems confused.
I mean, I'm my favorite sportscaster. I didn't know I was Northern Michigan's favorite, but let's go ahead and put that pedestal up there, sure.
Yeah. So, Harrison, we know the Tigers are playing right now, but what's going on with local sports today?
Yep, Tigers just started against the Marlins. Spencer Torkelson is back. Whoever doubted that guy? 2 home runs. He's going to hit a home run tonight, I'm sure, too. To make
that just happened?
Maybe no, it hasn't yet. Actually, I haven't even turned it on. I have been so focused on Unscripted, I haven't worried about the Tigers just yet. But earlier today, I did venture out to catch some high school baseball. You were harping on the weather with Joe a couple minutes ago. Just another gorgeous day to get out and shoot some highlights. Glen Lake and Benzie Central meeting up. Some great web gems on defense. Some efficient baseball. It was 2-1 Glen Lake in the first game when we left. So we'll get you the full highlights there tonight at 11. But yeah, really exciting to see these baseball teams coming to form. We're only a few weeks out from the postseason's beginning. Districts are going to get started the Saturday after Memorial Day, so it's just about 2+ weeks away, and we're going to start on that path towards crowning spring state champions, which means we're really close to summer by that count as well. So that's what we were covering today in the sports world.
And what else can people expect tuning in tonight for sports at 11?
So here's what I'm curious. We're not going to know this answer tonight, but tonight is the opening night for the WNBA, which I feel like is the biggest opening night the league has ever had now with Caitlin Clark and all the momentum they have right now. I'm curious to see what does better in the ratings, Caitlin's opener with the Indiana Fever against the Connecticut Sun or the actual NBA playoffs that are going on right now with 2 intriguing Game 5s in the NBA postseasons in the second round. So that'll be kind of the litmus test. We'll learn, I think, tomorrow what the ratings were. But tonight, 7:30, the Fever and the Caitlin Clark era officially begins.
I'm sure the ratings will be pretty close. Everyone is really pumped about the WNBA.
Either way, it's a win for the WNBA, but I'm curious to see if maybe opening night gets them a nudge over some 2 huge NBA games.
Right. Oof. It's just so great to see what Caitlin Clark has been doing for women's sports in general, but of course the
Definitely.
WNBA.
Yeah, very influential in the history of sports.
Absolutely. A lot of exciting stuff happening tonight. Harrison will have much more on that at sports, but Harrison, we'll let you go for now. We're going to take one more quick break. I'm going to put the question of the day back up one more time. And when we come back, we'll look at the final results for our question of the day. You are watching Up North Live News Unscripted. Alrighty, let's take one last look at our question of the day. Surveillance cameras are being installed at the Pines homeless encampment in Traverse City. Do you believe it is a step to increase safety or an invasion of privacy? 87% say a step to increase safety, 13% say invasion of privacy. And based on our comments on Facebook, we have about 316 right now. It sounds like 87% of people say a step to increase safety, and that is largely due to the fact that the Pines is public property. So that seems to be what most people feel about this certain topic. But be sure to scan the QR code right now to vote. And you can also head to our Facebook page and find this post to join in on the conversation. We want to know what you have to think about this. But thank you so much for joining us on Up North Live News Unscripted at 6:30. And we'll see you back here tomorrow on Unscripted and tonight on Up North Live News at 11. Take care, everyone.